Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Yay, hello there. It's great to be back.
So, yeah, I wanted to make sure because hotkeys have been not working so well. But then again, yesterday, nothing was working so well.
Yeah.
As we spent hours trying to get videos up. And then now that I think about it too, the process for uploading, it takes so much longer because they have another whole series of checks that goes through. So it takes just so much longer as they're searching for something. What are they searching for, I wonder?
I know. It's like I don't know if it's learning how to spell, but there's something that slowed the process down yesterday. And yesterday was difficult, but we made it. Here we are.
Well, there might be some searching for their investments here as we see this headline, Bitcoin plunges 30% to $30,000 at one point amid broad cryptocurrency sell-off.
Ouch.
In fact, it's pretty big. As you see here, the Daily Mail, the crypto crash, Bitcoin plunges 28%, Ethereum 38%, Dogecoin 47% after China cracked down on payments and Elon Musk said Tesla will not accept Bitcoin. So, wow, this is huge. Bitcoin has now erased all its gains since Tesla announced a $1.5 billion stake. What's going on here? You know, there's a lot going on here. Is the bottom line. There's so much more than meets the eye, and we'll go over to Zero Hedge, which honestly, I think Zero Hedge is one of the ones that tells things pretty damn straight, and maybe that's why they got their butts kicked off Twitter. That probably is why. we know, right? So yeah, China reportedly launches widespread ban on crypto payments, warns of speculation. Overall crypto market cap drops 1 trillion. Ether down 40% at worst. Bitcoin down over 10,000 at worst. Crypto proxy stocks hammered. Part of what's going on, we know we're going to have a crash, right? We know the crash is coming. We were talking about that yesterday. We know there is the great reset that has been planned. We know that there's a remaking of all the maps that is also planned. And, you know, again, I was, as a kid, I was always fascinated by maps. You know, it was kind of strange how fascinated I was. My mom, she was a knowledge junkie like me. So we had all sorts of old almanacs and things. And I would always be drawn to the maps showing the different empires and how things change. And again, if you went and looked at a map of take Europe, like pre-World War I, 1913, 1912 Europe, it's totally not what we have now. And I think if you're going to look at a map even 10 years from now, there's going to be absolutely humongous changes. And of course, the key to the control system that we find ourselves in is the monetary system. And if we can go and get ourselves to the point where we can barter and trade, we can get ourselves outside of this system. Now, I know many people are banking on things like Bitcoin as being a salvation, a way to get outside of the banking CABAL, so to speak. And Cindy's looking with this look on her face like she's perplexed. She's perplexed. She just doesn't get it. And I've heard people explain it. And, you know, we have one of our family members who, well, we have two actually that are traders in this. And they've explained it, and I can understand the logic and the reasoning. But my spiritual intuition tells me not to bite on this lore. It's like, you know, it's like you're out there at the lake fishing and, you know, throwing these, you know, different lures in. And I think that's exactly what some of these beings that are running the whole show are doing. They're giving us different bait, to put it more simply, to bite on. When you see all the billionaires dumping the stocks, and it'd be curious to see, who is doing what with these alternative cryptos as well. It shows you something big is coming. Something huge is coming. And as we've gotten from the guides, they wanted us to take things very, very seriously and, be as prepared as possible to be hunkered down. And hopefully, they wanted us to be all situated within 3 weeks, and that was about 4 days ago, which we're hoping we can be.
Yeah, we're hopeful.
And thank you guys for your prayers and good wishes and your positive intents on, the house situation and getting closed and all. As soon as possible, we're hoping to get some positive news in the next day or two. So we could do just that, because what are we going to do? Because we've basically got all our food in storage, and we didn't purposely, because of the cost of moving stuff across country, didn't restock as we had. So we're not in as good a shape as we were, say 9 months ago. We were in better shape, more prepared then, even back in Nevada, for what's coming. But, eventually what they want, of course, is absolute control. Digital type of currency, you get a card at first, and then later it'll just be a CHIP, your choice, webbing of between your thumb and your index finger, good for you. Would you want it on your right deltoid, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe you want it in your cheek.
Sure.
Better yet, they'll just put it right on your third eye.
Oh, right there. Yes.
Yeah, they're on your forehead, right on the third eye.
Yep.
That way they could keep hitting it with radiation and, basically shriveling up and destroying your pineal gland. We can see what's coming. So getting outside of that is imperative. If the grid's going to go down for a prolonged period of time, again, what good is any crypto? It's not going to be any good during that time when the grid's down, when we have no internet. How are you going to work it? That's why so many people in the know, I feel, are getting tangible things. We see Gil Bates. You know that Gil Bates guy that's apparently going through a divorce, and boy, there's going to be a lot of muck and mire coming out with that. Well, he's the largest farmland owner in the U.S. He's been doing his buying, and, maybe he'll borrow some SLAVES from the Anunnaki to go work it for him.
Right.
Unless he's on some island somewhere, sequestered. Could be.
Could be. Yep.
Could be. So again, this is interesting to see all this happening. JP Morgan sees Bitcoin to gold rotation and calculates fair value at 35,000 amid institutional liquidations. This is just fascinating to watch everything happen. But we've seen massive manipulation going on many different levels in previous times. You think about the Roaring 20s and how they just came and went crashing off a cliff. And then what happened? Well, the rise of the Third Reich. So in the 1930s, building up and leading to World War II. And meanwhile, we see Biden is pushing Netanyahu for a path to ceasefire in Gaza. He said that he wants to have a significant de-escalation on Wednesday. You get it done. Chop, chop. Chop, chop now.
Now.
That's what they're saying publicly. Yes. And then as they're turning around, one winks the eye to the other, or better yet, they give strange little hand signals that they learned in some sort of secret, ritual. So they know what's going on. New rocket attack from Lebanon shakes Israel. And again, this feels way different than what we've seen. And it's because of everything going on in the world. And I've seen a couple other people say that they got the same message that I got back in 2016 about basically Trojan horse. There's something happening from the inside out. And so there are powers that be that know now is the time to start the real go. It's time to go because of, well, I mean, just think about it. If you know somebody has a card up their sleeve, that ace of spades is hidden up the sleeve, and the house knows, and the house is going to let, that person win because it's all about suckering the other people on the table into losing everything. I don't know if that analogy makes sense to you guys, but that's kind of how I see it. What your thoughts?
Oh no, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. This is very different. And again, the guides are saying that, it really could happen right now. It's basically, we're at like a coin toss where, the odds of this before were much, much, much lower. And then they are doing their best because they do realize that there are people out there that have the ability to remote view. And more people every day are gaining the ability to remote view. As we see here, 4 rockets were fired from southern Lebanon into Israel, reportedly from near Tyre. And, again, the biblical conditioning, all these places from ancient history and the prophecies of their destruction. Again, it's all part of a bigger script that's going on. And no, that's not a garden ornament. It would be an ugly one.
It would be.
But instead of going boom, it went dunk.
I would be afraid to walk up to that and take a picture.
Yeah. Or hit it with a little mallet. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
Just like in the cartoons. So, yeah, you see four rockets launched from Lebanon towards Israel. 2 fell into the sea, 1 intercepted, 1 landed without injuries. But, this is still ongoing. Hamas releases footage of Israeli forces taken by new reconnaissance drone. This is part of the thing that's different with the warfare that's going on now is all the drones. And the ability also to see anywhere. There's technology, it doesn't matter what building you're in, they could see you from the satellites. There's nothing that is hidden. There's nothing that's not tape recorded. Every single conversation is tape recorded. And perhaps as we were talking about that iPhone taking infrared pictures constantly, perhaps everything. You think you're going to have 5 minutes of peace in the morning after you have your cup of coffee and you go down into the bathroom and you're sitting down and maybe you're reading the news, on your little phone. And meanwhile, the phone is snapping shots of you. U.S.-Russia showdown looms as diplomats meet in Iceland. There's been such a focus, and we talked yesterday about, again, the Russian bases up there in the Arctic. And, there was another big headline talking about that and how there's bombers up there. Perhaps there's nuclear bombers up there. That gets me thinking about that Nostradamus quatrain. I'm going to have to dig it up again. Samobrin. It's some sort of anagram for something. Many have equated it with even the plague that has been on this land. Because it talks about, if I can remember it, so many leagues above. This is above the ground. They will live without laws. It's interesting. I'm going to pull it up because I'm getting the feel that it has something to do with what's going on right now. And again, Nostradamus, was he an insider? He feels like an insider to me. He does. I mean, he was, basically in there with the courts, with the, not just the kings and queens, but also right there with all the top clergy on the land as well. And he was a big proponent of kingship as well, because he basically felt that we would have like a monarchy, true monarchy restored. So I don't know, maybe he was talking about the return of the Anunnaki. Interesting though. Russia offers to help demarcate Armenia Azerbaijan border. Move by Moscow comes after Armenia accuses Azerbaijan of sending troops across the border last week. Is this issue done? Doesn't look likely. I think it would kick up again when there's broader conflict that is ongoing, perhaps if the Ukrainian situation intensifies. Concerns grow over China nuclear reactors shrouded in mystery. No one outside China knows if two new nuclear reactors that are under construction, will they produce weapons-grade plutonium? Well, is this going to be for military as well as civilian use? And why are countries still making these things? Again, the nuclear situation is one that can bring other beings into play from the higher densities, that they won't tolerate certain things because it actually disrupts life on the higher planes as well.
Well, yeah, and it's something they're very adamant about. And sometimes people are like, well, why don't they come down now and help us? Why don't they come down now and do this? We need it now. They don't interfere with our human experience. They just don't do that. This is for our growth. It would be like taking a gift away from us for them to do that. But when it comes to the other issues, that's different because they are dealing with multi-layer issues that can cause problems for other worlds.
Exactly. And again, why do I keep bringing up the whole religious conditioning? It's because that's one of the main methods of control. Because really, the third global conflagration can start over there in Israel. And again, it's basically rooted in the religious wars. And that's sad. And especially like if at some point I know people are expecting the Project Blue Beam fake alien invasion. Well, the aliens have been here all along. And in fact, we actually have a lot of extraterrestrial DNA in every single one of us anyway. Now, it's interesting too, because we have gotten from the guides that basically 60% of the people currently incarnated on Earth have only incarnated on Earth, and they have only basically gone as far as 3 and 4D, 4D being, the astral plane. And we are, again, beings that jump back and forth between 3 and 4D for the most part. Some starseeds, light workers, and entities, beings like ascended masters, that have come here from even much higher realms. The other 40% is made up of these type of beings that have had lives on other planets, other solar systems, and perhaps other galaxies, even other universes in many cases, and are here for the most part trying to help guide the newer souls. Because the newer souls, again, they're like kids in so many ways. They're kind of innocent. They're very easy to lead astray, and they tend to be the ones that follow the mainstream a little bit more, or they'll just go along with any sort of system that's given to them almost out of innocence, and that they don't really know better.
Right. And we do actually have, what's curious is we do have angels before they come to incarnate on Earth. They'll observe humans, and I've seen that happening to me and Mike.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually like some of the stuff that maybe we might have mentioned in passing, but we were assigned, for instance, a couple different times we've had different guides that have come in, and one time it's basically a newbie in training. He's never, well, she, I mean, in the spiritual realm, not really such a difference, but as we can incarnate and do usually incarnate as both sex, just to basically, again, get more experiences and learn more and grow more. But yeah, it's very much like a classroom setting, kind of coming by and checking us out, and sort of like, well, how did their energy get to be the way their energy is? They seem a little different than most, and this type of thing. It really is interesting because, as I shared before with you guys on a couple of videos, for instance, like as far as my dad, who never really spoke much, He had a horrible car crash and an injury. He actually used to be a nightclub singer at one point after World War II, but it damaged his vocal cords. And he really didn't say much after that. He was very, very quiet. Well, he's actually teaching on the other side, so he's teaching a lot of, good, juicy things on the other side. The other side, like when we say that, we mean the 4D realm. It's very similar to this in many, many ways.
Like it is. It's interesting, but it's a lot. You can manifest a lot faster there.
And then we also got that Yeshua is, teaching countless angelic beings.
And anybody who wants to be taught just needs to reach out.
Yeah. So, reach out to him, and he will help you and work with you. So I just wanted to share those things with you as well. Because again, it's nothing to be feared. When we're out of the body, we still are. We still are. And so, like the Christian thought, or some lines of Christianity that think we're kind of sleeping, quote unquote, until your body's physically resurrected. Cindy just made a face like, yeah, it sounds very zombie apocalypse.
It does.
Like the zombie, issue with the dead coming out of their graves, because that just doesn't make any sense to us from what we've experienced. None at all, because your consciousness doesn't go into hibernation. You're still totally conscious. Sometimes people get trapped and they're in that in between. Most often they're greeted by loved ones, friends, guides, and whoever they expect to be greeted by, and then they are led to a place where they could basically reflect and do a life review and then start planning on the next incarnation. So, nothing scary at all. And then there will be those that do ascend to the higher densities. And, those will have an even more blissful experience when they go up into like that fifth density. That's where things are much, much better. But even in the higher realms of 4D, things are very, very nice. And, like when my mom passed on and everything, she was just so happy, bounding about, having a great time, just thrilled to be out of the body, because, she was 90 and very active, and the last several years she couldn't get around as much and as well. So she was and she loved to dance. So
well, she was kind of funny, because when she left the body, she didn't realize that, or maybe she just didn't remember that you could change your attire. And when she did come to see you to show you how fast she could walk, she was in her jammies still.
Yeah. And she would always say things, and she was devout Catholic, and she would say things that showed that she really didn't have a deep faith, though, because she was like, well, we don't know what's going to happen. And I would keep telling her, you're going to be fine. And I would tell her, I know this, you'll see. And she is. So we see mysterious drones attacked Turkey's Diyarbakir. Say that for me?
Yep. Diyarbakir.
Oh, she is getting good at these words.
I am.
Yes. We're going to have to give this girl a raise. So early on May 19th, two unidentified drones attacked an airbase in southern Turkish province of
Diyarbakir.
Great job. Located near the border with Syria. Now, again, Turkey is a real wild card in everything. Officially a member of NATO. We're buying Russian weaponry. And, they're all over the place. They've been involved with Libya. They are involved with Syria. They're a wild card. But as we've said to, the leadership there, Erdogan, he has visions of himself as the new sultan of the revived Ottoman Empire. So, who did this? That's a good question. And really, I would not be surprised if when conflict broke out, and let's pray that it doesn't break out any bigger than it is, if Turkey ends up switching sides once or twice even. They are such a wild card. So the attack was foiled, no casualties. Crazy, crazy world that we live in. home buyers are applying for even bigger mortgages as home prices soar, and we were having a great discussion. Gosh, I forget who it was with now, but we were talking about this. People are moving at record rates. So many people are trying to get into a house. There are forces that be that don't want anybody owning anything, and that's part of this bigger plan. We've had so many people that have been able to put off having, paying their rent or being foreclosed on because of the laws that have been in effect with the lockdown. When all that goes away, and if there is a crash, it's going to be a nightmare, guys. It's going to be a nightmare. So, like what we're trying to achieve, look at this. The average purchase price application size hit $411,400. So, like, ours is just a hair more than 10% of that. So that's why we were looking, like, where is the most affordable place with a good growing season that we see is going to be as safe as can be. Not that no place is perfect. Every place you're going to be at is going to have some issues. But with the West being so dried up, and the prospects of drilling wells and this and that, and we decided to go somewhere where there's more rain, so we don't have to worry about water supply, and somewhere that was affordable. And the most affordable state is Mississippi. Mississippi is the most affordable state. Then you have, after that, the other ones that are at the top of the list is Arkansas and Oklahoma. And then West Virginia is pretty affordable as well, but a little bit north for us, and we wanted to stay a little bit more central as well. So that's why we were looking in this area. But when you're in Northeast Texas, the prices are pretty comparable to Oklahoma and Arkansas and Southern Missouri. Great values as well. So that's why we're deciding to do what we are doing. I know there were some people that had said, well, there's different places like in Arizona, like Flagstaff is nice, and Prescott, but just out of our price range as well. So there are a lot of traps in place that I feel are going to be sprung as part of this economic crunch and crisis. And this really got me riled up. The second largest country in the world is running out of land. Canada's running out of land. What? There's so few people in Canada, and it is the second largest country. When you average it out, there's less than one person per square mile in Canada. It's crazy. How could they be running out of land? Well, their housing market is running hotter than just about anywhere else in the world. Right? Irrational bidding wars. We're seeing this all over the globe, by the way, in many, many areas. How is it running out of space? Well, you know why, and this is what really ticks me off. It's because 90% of the land in Canada is crown land. Yep. So, talk to the Queen about this. This is really who you have to talk to about this.
I know, that's really, really pathetic, but it is what it is, and that's the kind of power these beings have.
Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous that there even is any sort of monarchy. Whether many people think it's just completely for show, and I would say it's as much for show as any of the government structures that we see across the globe, because again, corporations are more powerful than countries. And certain families and certain bloodlines even more powerful yet, because they are the ones behind the corporations. China releases first photos from Mars rover. There you go. And I know some people think that this is in a studio, and it may be in a studio, but there's still bases on Mars.
Indeed, it is. And that red rock looks a little bit like where I went 4 corners to the Valley of the Gods, actually.
Yeah, so it can be fake. Everything that we're seeing could be all like this. It could be a nice little model. It could be Photoshop.
Well, they've done a nice job. Bravo.
But yeah, the reality is, Mars is inhabited. There still are beings there. And, there are ETs. They're not all just demons.
Right.
There are demons, though, too. So, I mean, this is the catch. Don't believe it's just one way or the other. Most of the time, it's checkmark that last option there, all of the above.
Yes.
Mysterious mass found in North Carolina coast. What is this blob? Baffling experts. Well, they say it kind of resembles an egg sac from certain types of squids or octopus, but not exactly. So they really don't know. And is it something that's been awakened or washed up from deep down from volcanic activity and different crustal movement going on? Or is it a mutation? Now they found masses like this both in Atlantic and Pacific. So, we could blame Fukushima for some things, but, not in the Atlantic side unless things are even far worse than we have been led to believe.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to think that, perhaps it's another one of those evolutionary changes that happens in these time periods where you have the magnetosphere in rapid decline because of basically a magnetic pole reversal, as well as the grand solar minimum. So I'm thinking that it probably is something perhaps mutated and new, yes.
Very curious looking for sure. Looks like a spider kind of went wild.
Yeah, it does look like an egg sac for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being part of the family. Thumbs up to help the channel. If you did find this informative, make sure you're subscribed to both channels and have the bell clicked. Thanks for your support also on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We could not do it without you guys. If you need to make an appointment, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. As always, stay prepared, guys. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.